Sometimes we seem to stumble upon bits of information that are extremely valuable. In January, I stumbled upon Eckhart Tolle, and ever since then, I've been much happier. And I believe everyone, or if you're a human, you should listen to him, or at least you should hear what he has to say. Now, I've labeled this video mental health because applying what he says will remove all the labels you have about feeling unwell. And when it comes to labels and mental health, there are many. But you have to remember this. Terms like anxiety, depression, or whatever it may be, especially those two, because most people suffer from them and they're the most vague, it will be a different experience for each individual. There is nothing that actually is depression or anxiety. They are just terms to describe what people feel sometimes. And they're applied to these people because they feel like this most of the time. The term and the diagnosis has nothing to do with you and nothing to do with how you fix it or where it came from. And if you feel triggered by what I'm saying, if you feel like, how dare he make depression or anxiety, the thing I'm suffering from, so small and tiny and unimportant, then that's because you tie that disease to yourself. So you feel attacked, and that's a part of the problem. You've made depression or anxiety part of yourself. That's why you're taking this so seriously, if you suffer from that disease. Now, most of you feel well, but we all suffer from, well, this dysfunction called thinking. And that's the main point of this video. Now we've gone over labels. Now I'm gonna talk about what actually causes these things, and it's thinking. Now you might say, okay, some person with anxiety doesn't really know how to control their thinking, but trust me, you actually can. You can control if you want to think or not. And while I'm talking about this, you're becoming more aware of your thoughts. And usually when you listen, you're not thinking, right? Especially when there's a silence between my words, you're not thinking. And so that proves that you can stop thinking. And usually, 95% of the time, it is better to not think than think. Let's say you're on the bus or an airplane where you're gonna be still for the most part. You're gonna do nothing. Wouldn't it be better if you didn't think? It would, right? When you're eating, when you're out for a walk, when you're exercising, many times, or when you're going to sleep, all of those situations are usually where, or except exercise, because there's too much to focus on. You're feeling a lot, so your attention goes to the, bodily movements. But at nighttime, and when you're alone and sitting in a place where you can't talk with anyone, when you're not distracted, that's usually when this depression thingy kicks in, depression or anxiety thing kicks in. So what I'm proposing is that these things are caused by excessive thinking. Now, how do we stop thinking? You have to be where life is instead of being disconnected from life. What do I mean by that? Usually, people would agree that there is a past and there's a future, and that there's also the present moment. And if we look at how much time people spend worrying about the future and thinking about the past, you'll find that no one is in the present moment. And the funny thing is, the only thing that exists right now is the present moment. Life always, the focal point of life is in the present moment. The meaning of life is in the present moment because it doesn't exist anywhere else. And if you go deeper than that, you are life itself. There's no my life, there's only life. And usually when you're in the present moment, you're not thinking because you're actually there. When you're thinking, you're somewhere else. Now, I'm not saying that thinking about productive things or doing productive things that require thinking is bad. I'm saying that most of your thinking is unnecessary and it only causes problems for yourself and others. Now, I've talked about being present, which of course is all of this that I've learned in the past few months has come from Eckhart Tolle, and The Power of Now and A New Earth, his two most famous books. And I also recommend watching his YouTube videos. That's what you should do right now. I'm trying to deliver this to you so that you can that's what I always do. I give you the information, or I give you the tidbits so that you can, I give you the gift and you unravel the packaging. Now, how do you be in the present moment? How do you stop thinking? Because that's something, usually when I've talked to my friends about it, because this is such an amazing teaching, everything Eckhart says is golden, basically. They think that it's hard. How do you do that? That's impossible. And let me give you some strategies that Eckhart also talks about in a short summary. First of all, be aware of your breath. If you're aware of your breath, then your attention, or your energy, so to speak, the energy you put into thinking, goes to your breath instead. So you supply less energy to your mind, and thus you'll think less. And then your attention might wander back to your mind and you'll catch yourself thinking again, but that's alright, that's really good. The important thing is you caught yourself. And so, breathe. Be aware of your breath at all times. The second thing is, or it's best illustrated by an example. Let's say you're walking, you're for a walk. Usually, when you're walking, your body is there, but your mind is somewhere else. Now, what if you felt your body more? When you take a breath, the breath travels, well, if you're breathing from your diaphragm and from your nose like you should be, the breath will go in through your nose and then your stomach will expand. And so there's an energy inside your body that you can feel. And if you just put your attention there, you're kind of moving your energy from your head down to your body. And that's nice, because then you're not thinking. And then another thing, those two are the things I usually do. Another thing is to listen to silence. See how you're expecting me to say something, but nothing is coming? if you listen to silence, usually your mind will be still because you're alert. And that's a good way of being present. There's always silence around you. Even if you're at a party, there is some form of silence that you can feel. Kind of. It's hard to describe, but you'll know it when you try it. It's not that hard. But that also puts you in the present moment. And then generally choosing to be in the present moment, recognizing that there's a present moment and that all your sense perceptions are here, that also helps. So focusing on what you're smelling, what you're seeing, what you're touching, that helps. And then the last thing, because sometimes you stop thinking, but your thinking has created emotions that are still inside of you. You can be, one thing I've experienced many times when I've meditated is that, okay, I'm not thinking, but there's some painful energy in some tightness in the heart, chest, stomach area. And that's usually, if you're upset or sad, that's usually where you feel it. And the way you deal with that is you go into it. You put all your attention to it, and you really feel that emotion. You don't try to hide from it. You really, really focus on it. If it's nervousness, sadness, anger, whatever it is, focus on it. And then you accept it. You accept that it's there, because when you put that emotion came from some form of non-acceptance to the present moment. When you bring acceptance to it, you kind of shine light on the darkness, and then the darkness is not there anymore. So that's how easy it is. And it doesn't feel good, but when you've accepted it, it will feel much better. And don't think that you shouldn't experience any negativity in your life. That's more of a stoic thing, but oh well. You have your own journey. And with that said, that's what I recommend that you do. Now, of course, go into YouTube and listen to Eckhart Tolle. His being, his energy will help you with anything regarding mental health. He kind of puts you in presence because of his presence. Over and out for now.